caught that a few
Yeah,
times.
every drip line needs a shut-off valve.
Yeah.
Because different plants require different moisture levels.
And then we should probably plan our garden
According to that, right.
moisture levels.
Right.
So maybe you should have like those sheets that you can see through to the next one as far as the layout, as it's going to change as plants, you know, or to plan it. I don't know. Do you want to map it out, or and so we're not just winging it like we did this year?
Yeah, I think we need to map
And
it
those
out.
sheets where you can flip it
Right.
over where that crop's
Right.
gone, so what's going to go replace
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah,
Right.
and that way we know, like radishes, okay, we have radishes
Mhm.
30 days, but you don't want to put radishes back in the same spot. So what would you put after
could put
radishes?
Lettuce.
Lettuce, okay, you go radish,
Uh,
radish, and immediately clean that out, put seeds and lettuce.
Right.
But you know, of course, I would probably do head lettuce that way.
Okay.
That way, you require a lot more space for, you know, like cut lettuce.
Mhm. Right. And I think a lot on that, you know, in one row you can oftentimes double seed that row with lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did quite a bit of that, or even triple sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. And the same way with onions.
Right.
Onions, we had all over the place.
Yeah.
which was a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, I don't know that it was
Because they were
either
helping
way.
the plants next to them, right? Everywhere they were?
Helping?
With pests or bugs?
I
No?
don't know.
They're supposed to.
Well, the
No.
reason
I didn't see it.
we didn't really designate anything specifically for onions because they don't take up any space
Right.
and they
Yeah, they would just put them in between wherever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that for
We didn't-
harvesting,
That
though.
way we didn't devote the space to it,
Right.
but you know, hey, we got a little space between the
Yeah.
broccoli and we just kind of
But
started plugging in. That's
people
not the
didn't-
worst thing, you know.
People didn't really know where they were a lot of times.
Right,
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's a result of they're not coming out enough. But,
right.
Open your eyes.
Right. But anyway, that's.
I would not
you
do
know,
that system just because of that. I mean,
Right.
it's just like,
Right.
come on, open your eyes, you know, go
Yeah.
out there, you know what an onion looks like.
Yeah.
You know, it's just more of, you know, what size you want them to harvest.
Well, that was also before we had the teams for the crops.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So maybe if there was like an onion team, they would.
Did you like the idea of the team?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have the team works. My thought on that whole deal is to have a kind of a supervisor of the team leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be you.
I don't know. There's probably more other. somebody
No,
else
there
better
isn't,
qualified.
Robert, except for
But-
Valerie.
Somebody to supervise the team leaders,
Mhm.
and then the team leaders supervise different groups and levels
Mhm.
of expertise and experience, and you get these people who have no experience. It's the team leader's responsibility to teach,
Right.
whether it be in planting, or harvesting, or whatever the case might, caring for, weeding, whatever the case.
So
might
you're saying
be.
a team supervisor would teach the team leaders on
Well-
a separate day?
I'm saying that,
Or just work with them?
The team leaders meet once a week, well, let's say with me, and we kind of plan out what needs to be done for the next week or two. And it's your responsibility as a team leader to make sure your team
Get that bed ready or,
gets the bed ready, or does the harvesting, or does the planting, or whatever the case might be.
So let's say that was you.
Mhm.
So then your job wouldn't be doing what you're doing now. You'd be more supervising each team.
Yeah, and working with each team leader primarily. Because we've got team leaders who need some training as well.
That's right. You know, Lolly
Lolly's a
really
perfect
looked,
example.
You know, she really went to you for a lot of advice.
And Paul.
And Paul.
And,
too,
and you
yeah.
said Paul was not going to be available as much probably.
Well, he said it depends on the citrus.
What he doesn't really know.
Yeah.
Just this year it wasn't good. so
But
next
he's-
year could be
yeah.
a different
Right.
story.
If he has the
Changes.
time, I guess.
Yeah.
But otherwise, weekends for sure.
Yeah.
But
But because Paul was a tremendous help
definitely,
to everybody.
absolutely.
Yeah. But other than Paul and myself,
Right.
I don't know who had the pretty thorough knowledge.
Yeah, that's what it came down
gardening.
to.
Right.
I think Donna had some pretty good knowledge, but she she just
She
kinda,
was very physically limited. It was very difficult for her to pick the tomatoes or do any of the work, really. She knew what to do,
she knew,
but
she
it
had
was
the knowledge
difficult for her
behind
to
it.
communicate too. She didn't want
Yeah,
to
she
talk
didn't
to any
really wanna-
members.
At first, she tried to do it all herself, and then
Yeah.
realized she
Couldn't do
physically
it,
couldn't do
right.
it.
Well, that's
And
a
then she just ended up
yeah.
dropping the ball altogether.
Right.
But
I think that's a criteria for a team leader is, and I'm not a good example, but a team leader needs, to be able to communicate well.
that's where Lolly's actually pretty good. She's
Yeah,
good
she's
at getting
good
people.
to a point.
I
We
know.
won't go into that.
You don't have to tell me.
No.
Her emails were good though.
Her emails were
She's
fantastic.
good.
Yeah.
She's good at getting shaming the people to come
Yeah,
out.
right. She got results.
And people
she
kept
does.
joining her group that didn't know where to go. I was
Right.
like, go join Lolly's, She's telling people.
She's not great at listening, though. Right? You shouldn't have that on video.
Well, no one's going to see all this anyway.
Please
Better
cut
not.
out that, right.
Um,
Because our heart's in the right place, that's for sure.
no,
Yeah.
no, she is.
Yeah, she might get the most
Yeah.
improved
Yeah,
award,
right, yeah, but,
most
Oh.
persistent.
but I think you need to have the team leaders established before the end, or by the 1st of August.
Well, this
As
is
well as
who
the
we've got.
membership.
Actually, we're here now.
Yeah.
So who's on that list that you would consider a team leader? I guess, Can we, like-
Heather would be a good team
Oh,
leader.
definitely. If she has
She's
the
very
time. Did she say she has the time? How much has she been working?
She's been
But she's
coming
busy
out. She
with
comes out on her
ELC.
day off.
Oh, Mondays or something?
I think it was.
Wednesday?
I think Wednesday is her day off. I want to say.
Definitely
Deb Cohn,
she'd
I
be
mean,
great.
She was terrific in the beginning, but she hasn't done much here recently. I mean, she hasn't been coming out, so I'm not quite sure why. I mean, there for a while she wasn't working, but I think she's back working again. I think it's probably a big part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
See, we could show Brian this tape.
I'm sorry?
We could show Brian this tape.
Yeah.
Then he won't have missed anything.
Are you saying we haven't accomplished anything?
Well, I'm saying if he feels like he missed out, he'll be able to rewatch it.
Yeah, we'll have, this is just kind of a rough overview
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
I mean,
But-
we're nowhere near. I just wanted your thoughts
Right.
on a few things.
Yeah, I think if you all could kind of zero in on, if you and Brian could kind of zero in on what space is available and where it's available and how much
Mhm.
and so forth, and then I'll try to work on some of 20, 30, and 50, idea. I'll try to do some of that.
Actually, yeah, with that tracing paper, where you can lift, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever.
You think maybe the strawberries? I mean, we if we did a lot less of them,
Mhm.
Yeah, that half of that.
could we do something like?
Unless they were on the same side where they could pick them, maybe they
Well,
would.
I wonder if maybe they should be in where the row cover is too, because we did lose.
And you get that
Maybe-
last cold snap, got a bunch, got.
Oh
Good
yeah,
luck,
definitely.
right.
We didn't get strawberries for almost a month
Right.
because of that.
Right.
So
You could put strawberries in this separation between the tomatoes and the other stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Beans maybe. I think we could get an early season bean, but probably not do them in the.
In the cold winter.
Cucumbers, you could almost do something where they climb up,
Mhm.
so you
Mhm.
get more, just a small, and then maybe strawberries. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you know what we could do? I know what we could do. We could do a strawberries all the way, maybe one big 600-foot row of strawberries right down the side. Could maybe do like two raised beds, one big tomato, a partial.
Except the thing about
cherry.
making the strawberries go all the way to the end is I bet nobody's going to go to the end to pick them.
Well, that's going to be true of anything.
I can see them getting neglected way down there. I don't know.
Well, that becomes a responsibility of the team leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many feet were planted over here?
Well, basically 900 feet.
Okay.
Yes. 3 rows, 300, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
One 600-foot row would be about right. you know, probably,
Again, depending on the membership.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I probably will have mine in with that.
Oh,
too,
okay.
You know,
All right.
so.
Okay.
But you didn't sell yours, right?
Oh, I did it initially.
Oh, you did?
Until, you know, when they got a little tiny and bug,
Oh,
you know.
oh,
I
okay.
So it's, no, I sold quite a few.
Oh, good.
You know, no, I sold quite a few.
Uh,
It's just that I have to be a little, you know, like anything, when you're selling to the public, when they're buying it,
Right.
quality has to be a little bit different.
All right, so that brings up another question then, which is just something to throw out. Would the crops be separated, or are you saying blend
Well, I'm
them?
just saying, this particular crop, perhaps we just keep it together, just because of a logistic problem of covering. They're cold sensitive,
Mhm.
and then have the CSA work with one other bed, and then you would have this, and we would work it.
that
This is
sounds
all gonna
good.
be under plastic, so all you're
Yeah.
really gonna have to do is, here, you know, maybe DR trim in between the beds, just to
Mhm.
keep the weeds down, or
Mhm.
or hoe, or whatever.
Okay, so you're saying the CSA could fit on one bed?
Well, probably will, you know, you work one bed, and maybe we do.
So should it be
cool
like two
weather
halves and a-
Crops here,
Yeah.
when it's done, we
Okay.
could potentially go over to
Yeah.
another and do a spring garden, and just do a fresh spring garden.
Right. This would be 600 feet
Mm-hmm.
and what, four rows?
Or three?
Or three?
Depending on what we can fit in there,
This year it was three, right?
yeah. We could, you know, if we did it right with the plastic, might be able to squeeze in 4,
I'll figure on just 3 initially then.
yeah.
I'll do 3 and kind of.
Yeah, and then do the 20, 50, and
Uh-huh.
something in between.
But, you know, obviously
30.
for 50 members, you're gonna need more space than for 20.
Mhm.
So, you know, that's,
And of course, that's not working members, so that was the other question. Do the non-working members have the same mixture mixed in, I guess, is that with the working members? Or was that a separate thing that a hired person is gonna do? Or is that gonna be mixed together? Or what are your thoughts on that?
you lost me.
Yeah, you lost me too.
Where, let's say there's 20 working members
Okay,
from this list that are
Alright.
returning,
okay.
and then there's the other 20 or 30 that you're thinking are gonna make up the 50 are all gonna be brand new members.
Right.
So they would be
but
non-working?
that's where you hire an individual to do the work for
So
the,
would there be
the
separate
non-working. So that way
sections?
it's not put on to you or whatever. You still have to do the planning that you have for 50 members, but the person, you know, probably the planning and the seating, that part of things is not where the work really, I mean, that's pretty easy. I mean, you can seat some, you know, whether you seat for an extra 50 people, it's not that big of a deal.
So you're saying it would be together though?
Yeah, the garden will be together. It's just that the person who physically does the work, it'll be somebody else. Whether it be me or whether it be somebody I hire, it depends on, again, it depends on how much money is in the budget for that I just, you know, that I can afford to do it, you know. Just,
Right,
makes
which
a
depends
difference.
on how many members, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that-
yeah,
So,
so,
so then the only last thing that hasn't been talked about is, should there be a scenario where it's just working people, just working their own section, or is that not practical?
I would love to see it, but it isn't practical for this garden
yeah,
because of the irrigation is a big factor. The cultivation is another big factor. As I said, I personally would like it, but it's not practical for this setup.
yeah. Yeah, it'd be
Okay.
nice if everybody just did their own little plot like
Mhm.
your backyard garden
Yeah.
type thing, but
But
it becomes too confusing as far as spraying, and
Right.
you saw the bug problems in
and
just the
this
backyard.
person here thinks they need water, and the person down the line thinks they don't need water, and you get into a debate there, and there's just too many
Yeah,
factors that affect that.
Okay, so then the other thing is, the plants that do need water, did you talk about grouping them, the ones that need more water versus the ones that need less water? In terms of their location along that drip line, since the water,
We
No.
haven't really discussed it, but
is that, does that go along with that map, or how would you
Yeah,
fix that
not
problem?
necessarily, you know,
no, not really, because
that's where you almost, maybe what you do is what you put in that particular row, because you can have a shut-off valve at each end there.
Right.
That's what, if you put, they have similar,
Yeah, similar water requirements, for
Yeah.
example,
that way you can control it that way, you
Right.
know?
right, but in the fall.
Oh, in the
you
one
don't get-
row.
You know, you need water the amount you need of water decreases as the temperature drops.
Right.
And you don't need as much as you do in the spring, like we had this dry snap, back a couple of months ago.
I wouldn't call that a snap.
Well, it
Yeah.
just about.
It went on and on
it was
and
tough
on.
to the garden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because they were getting no water, and
yeah,
nature does a lot better job than any
sure, yeah.
well or anything
Yeah.
to do. But
definitely.
but there are some crops that need corn, for example, doesn't need much water until it starts tasseling and silking, and then it needs a lot of water.
Mhm.
And it unfortunately got all too much water when it was just little up
I
as
think
far in.
that's probably one reason, maybe why mine did pretty well. Mine was in tassel when we started getting the rain.
Uh-huh.
And then it dried out. Now it doesn't need as much.
Right,
So
right.
time,
Timing is everything.
luck has a lot to do with
Right,
it.
timing is everything on crops. You can have a complete failure of a particular crop, depending on the weather.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
or you can have an abundance.
That's beyond your control.
Right.
Now, I think all these have pretty much similar water
Mhm.
demands,
Mhm.
I don't know about the cucumber.
I think about the
Similar to
same.
tomato,
Yeah,
probably.
I think so. Yeah, but
Mhm. But, and I know strawberries don't require a tremendous amount of water,
No.
and neither do tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant.
Right,
They
right.
need it, but not tremendous.
What was
Right.
that thing that you put in the soil for the tomatoes? That the biological?
Basically, it's the biological control that eats fungus.
I think that did the job, don't you? Because they
I
lost
think it
all
helped,
of that.
And I will inject that during planting.
What was that
This
called,
time, that
though?
way it's in,
right.
What was that called?
activate, it's, and I can't tell you the name of the bacteria,
Oh.
I got it down in the fridge.
Activate?
down there. Activate, yeah.
Yeah, because that was phenomenal. We thought we were going to lose them
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing is that if you use the same drip tapes, they need to be in place and on when plants are set out, like tomatoes and pepper and
Yeah, we need to turn
and
it
to
on
where
well
you
ahead of
put-
time.
where you put the plant near where that drip is, rather than halfway between two drips and they don't get any water.
Yeah. Maybe we need to go with, that the foot
We only had
spacing,
one
go to
drip
6
tape,
inch
though.
spacing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can get drippers that, have 6 inch, 4 inch.
But also, there was only one. Should there have been two?
What we could do is stuff that, under plastic, although under plastic, you could even go 8 inch, 8 inch might be good under plastic. Maybe we have a couple different ones.
Yeah.
When it's something that
Right.
demands a lot more
Right.
water out in the
Like-
field, maybe
Right.
that's the type of drip tape we put out. That would be one way to control
Yeah.
that.
Well,
too.
like lettuce, you need a fairly close together on the drip.
So maybe we go 4 inch with lettuce
Uh-huh, 'cause
and
it's all
8 inch for under plastic, and maybe I just eliminate the 12 inch.
But,
12 inch, although,
things like
But should there be two drip tapes where there was only one this year?
one,
I
I
don't know.
No.
I don't think
know.
so. I think
you know,
probably
you have a
the
better
answer
feel.
is just more if you,
Or the other thing is,
go down the center.
you
and
not
put
go
4 inch
down
and
to
then
the end?
It'll seep.
do you not go down to the end of the 600-foot bed where, like, the cotton that's growing now, wasn't at that end, wasn't getting anything much? The children's
collard.
garden.
Yeah.
So do you just stop planting higher up, or
Mm-hmm.
if the water's not? I don't know.
Well, if you can, say, I'll use 400 feet as an example. Stop at 400 feet instead of 600 feet on the row, and at the end of that row, plant things that need very little water.
Yeah, then that
You
would
can
be
do
it.
that, Yeah.
Yeah, things with less water demand.
Which are
Good
like
idea.
what?
Trying to think. Well, as I said, I used, trying to think, I can't think of anything that doesn't need a little water, but there's some things, cabbage and broccoli and stuff like that doesn't need, I don't think, as much water. What do you think?
Didn't seem to, because we
As,
had, that's what we kind of what we
right.
had down at that end.
But again, that needs the water early on.
Right.
And that's
Right.
the problem,
Yeah,
is that
right.
different stages of plant growth, you need different types of water. I mean, amounts of water.
Yeah, because in the beginning when we planted them, which
Well, remember,
they were
that
dying.
stuff is going to be on plastic.
Yeah.
It's going to hold its moisture.
Yeah.
When you
Hold
put
them,
stuff
right.
on plastic, it holds the moisture at least. You know.
Right.
You
and then when it rains though, it doesn't really get in there, or it does.
it's still,
it's,
believe believe it or not, it absorbs through. Get watering on the leaves, and
Oh.
it's
And
still,
those roots spread out
yeah.
a good deal, and they're,
But it controls it too. In a lot of ways, it controls it. In fact, like the deluges we get, it actually helps it because you don't get the soil splash up, number one, for diseases, and you don't get so much water the plant drowns. It probably get more optimal amount of water when you have it on plastic when you get the deluge. That's why Kevin starts planting his lettuce in August, but he does everything on plastic. Now, God bless him. He sits there, he puts every 4 inches, he plugs in a tomato or lettuce plant every 4 inches. And he does this all season long, and he does everything on plastic. And to me, it's going to kill anybody's knees, their back, and I just don't agree with
it's
that.
just too labor intensive.
It's too labor
Yeah.
for lettuce, I think it is.
Yeah. I agree that we probably need to use more plastic. And I know organically, a lot of people not as crazy about it.
Right.
But
I think,
you
on a
have a-
larger scale.
on a larger scale, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
And in Florida, it's a necessity.
And for some crops, it has success, tomatoes, strawberry, eggplant, peppers, where they're susceptible to splash up soil-borne diseases, they need the plastic.
It helps keep the rotting down, like
Right.
on a lot of plants, like the squash. All the
Melon
red
maybe another.
melons.
Yeah, melons probably should have it,
I
right?
Yeah.
have a question for you. I had a thought on melons. If you did do field crop them like we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
could we have something made up, and I don't think of such a thing to exist, kind of look like a donut, but plastic that raises the
Yeah.
would you just slip up?
It'd be great.
But
I've
I've never
anything
seen
that.
anything
Right.
like it.
Right.
Just something maybe about an inch and a half high that they stack. I'm
Right.
thinking like
That you put under the fruit, you mean?
the plastic shaped like this, so
Uh-huh.
they actually you could do a whole stack of them, so it wouldn't take up much space.
Uh-huh.
Something that's stackable.
To
Right.
put the
Yeah.
melon itself on top of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
now,
sounds
would it,
awesome.
Would it take the shape of that? That was the only thought that I thought in development.
They do at Epcot. Did you see that they make Mickey Mouse ears out of the melon
Uh-huh.
because they put it inside a, well, that might be different. They put it inside a Mickey Mouse shaped thing and it grows up in between the ears.
Uh-huh.
But that's not what you're talking
I don't
about.
know whether it would or not. It might, if you got a donut type thing. It probably needs to be solid.
Yeah.
Would need to be solid, maybe with a little curvature in it.
Yeah.
That
Maybe
way,
with drain holes in it.
yeah, that way it wouldn't get them the shape of melon. But if you have a donut hole, there will probably be a bulge in that melon.
Ah,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
what I was wondering about that.
So
The
there.
only downside. I'm
Yeah.
thinking
So a
about that. but
solid
then
one,
again, would it
like
be
with
that
a-
shape?
Right.
then that would do
Does it have
it.
to be a downside though? It might be a unique note.
Yeah.
Like it might be a draw.
Might be. We could
Well,
put
then you
happy
could get
face-
actually.
happy faces.
There you go.
Then you could get a shape that you did want, like ears or no.
Yeah.
And
A
yeah,
rabbit.
they would be unique. That's what I mean, rabbit
I love it,
ears.
Robert.
We could have something there.
Yeah.
That would definitely be
people
worth
make
experimenting.
money inventing stupid things
Yeah.
like the potato chip clip. I mean, that
Yeah.
person is a millionaire now because of the stupid.
I think that's
Exactly.
worth experimenting, is putting a shape like a
Get
cake
grant,
mold.
Do an
But-
experimental melon trial.
On some of the fruits, they will start when the fruit is just tiny,
Yeah.
and tie a plastic bottle or a bottle. Well, some of the liquor, you can see with actually has a lemon in it or something like that, where they tie when the lemon is just little bitty, they tie a bottle and stuff the lemon inside, and then it grows and gets to be like that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
Yeah, and that's like what Epcot did.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
So yeah, that would be cool to try.
Yeah.
you know, that's something that,
But you guys okay with it, me putting all my stuff together?
yeah,
With,
sure.
you know, that-
I think it's a good idea because
And that way
we help each
'cause that's
other.
something we need, it helps both of us, and we
Right.
need, you know, 'cause we need
Yeah.
hands to put that stuff over.
Right.
You know, 'cause that's
Right.
heavy, you know, it's,
Mhm.
and we'll have it all set up, you know, where
Mhm.
we have the bows ahead of time.
Right.
We're gonna do the bamboo,
Mhm.
hopefully, you know,
Uh-huh.
get that in place, and that way the bamboo takes the shape of it.
And that way.
You're
we-
gonna
And
grow
when
the
it's time to
bamboo?
go, then we'll have the road cover laid out, have something already, you know, whether we have bags of, I know the way they do it commercially, I think they have like bags of rocks, basically, to hold it down.
To hold it down.
Hold it down, you know,
Uh-huh.
a bunch of little bag, you know, I could use those
Yeah.
citrus bags.
Doesn't
you know,
take much. Right.
And you just hold it bag,
Right.
you know, and then you just cover it up, and then you just start throwing the rock bags on the other side.
Mhm.
You know, you just have them already, and then, you know, a bunch of hands
That way
on
you
it.
don't have to rush and do everything, you know, panic at the last minute
Yeah.
like we did when that first cold snap came.
Yeah, and then we could have, we have some smudge pots that, whether we use smudge pots or now we have a couple ready heaters that we could possibly use too.
Mhm.
It's just enough to keep, I think that's the reason why we save these too, because we use that. So anyway,
So you're saying plant all the crops together or just those kinds that need?
just the cold sensitive ones, you know, in the.
Then where would yours be? On the same side of the road or?
I probably will, I may end up going in the way back, you know.
Oh,
I do not want to plant these beds that are planted right now. I just
Mm.
have better success with starting with virgin soil.
They need to lay out,
Yeah,
Seed
that's
'em
part of
in
my
something
organic
that-
plan is
Yeah.
crop rotation.
yeah,
You know, let this go into cover crops
Uh-huh.
and just let that rest,
right.
you know.
the part
I'm
that's
thinking
over
you-
there right now you're talking about?
Yeah, what's there right now, we're just.
And nobody plants on that?
Nobody plants on that
Oh.
this year,
Yeah.
you know.
The beds will be
I'm looking
moved over
at, you know, these two
toward
beds
the-
are open.
Oh, toward the ditch?
Toward the,
Ditch?
Yeah,
Shop,
both
store.
sides of the ditch are open, and
Yeah.
then where the manure pile is, which we
Okay,
got
so-
three beds that are unplanted
I
right
see.
now.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm thinking those three, would be the good ones, and then the following year, then we can, you know, would you keep putting the cover crops in on these beds, we'll just that right back in, you know, just,
right.
yeah.
And let it lay out 2 or 3 years,
Yeah,
and then it'll be ready
yeah.
to
And then,
go
you know,
again.
and I'm thinking maybe potatoes in the back, maybe we'll just do a thing in the potatoes, just, they say potatoes just need virgin soil and away from everything else.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that, I
Yeah,
think it's
they-
best to just keep your
They
potatoes
can
from the rest of your.
infect other insects and diseases.
So you can
and
count
stuff
on
like
your tomato, strawberries, peppers,
that.
eggplant, all over
Cucumber,
here.
you mentioned.
And then, and the potatoes wouldn't be in there, so all you have to do is just plan on all the rest of this stuff in this section,
Mhm.
you know,
Right,
so that should
Uh,
make things a little
yeah.
easier, I think.
right. Yeah,
Get an
well,
idea. Get a rough idea, but like you say, it makes a difference on.
I
on the
think-
people.
one last thing. As people sign up, you mentioned you were gonna have them come out and gonna do a little work before they sign up?
If you know, there's some people that may just sign up, be total non-working
Right,
member. I
that's
think.
different, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I think if they think they want to be a working member
Mhm.
and we don't know who they are, they're required to come out. If you really want to be a working member, your heart's set on it,
Right.
come out and we'll make sure it's really for you, or you really are what you say you are.
Right.
And don't take offense if you're not, you know what I
Exactly,
mean? It's just,
exactly.
it's not for everybody.
Right. And make sure, I think another criteria is to make sure of availability.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't be a working member and be available only on Thursday afternoons at 4 o'clock.
Right,
So you have to give a time
You have to
commitment.
do at least 2 commitments a week of availability to be a working member.
Mhm.
Maybe it's once during the week and once on the weekend, or, you know, whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
So 2 different times instead of 1 3-hour or 4-hour
I
time?
think so, because there are different requirements from time to time.
For true working members,
Yeah.
then we can have the partial working
Yeah.
member that's experienced, but they
Uh-huh.
should then have.
So if they're
to
coming out
available.
twice a week, what do you think that would be, a 2 or 3-hour twice a week?
If they're coming out twice a week, 2 hours, don't you think?
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. That's 16 hours a month.
Mhm.
As a working member,
Yeah,
I think
right.
I think that's about right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's always something to do, and if you know, if there
Right,
by
there's
chance
so
if-
much neglect out there right now.
Exactly. If there's always something to do. If it's nothing else but cut weeds or
Mhm.
you know, there's just and I think we need to
Yeah, so up the standards.
yeah, and provide a little bit, maybe a little bit more organic fertilizer. That we can side dress some of the plants with more frequently.
Yeah, just make it available.
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
And concentrate on the gardening element of it.
Yep. I agree.
So then the partial working shares,
Mhm.
what would be their requirement? They're just,
I think they need to do minimum of 6 hours a month. You know, so that's 3 hours every other week. You know, that you're just increasing them an extra hour, and that's where the working members, that's where you utilize those people, you know.
okay,
And we need, you know, that basically they're gonna be your harvesters and your weeders,
Mhm.
you know.
I said a while ago that was my last comment, but it's not. I lied. One of the things that I think that the afternoon, morning, AB week got confusing to a lot
It
of
did.
people, to the point that they
It
just
did,
kind
it
of,
did even
gave
maybe,
up.
I didn't look.
well, that's
it
a
up.
good point. Yeah, when should there be shifts, or is that what you're gonna say?
well,
I think there should be less shifts.
Yes.
Be less confusing.
yes.
So what should it be?
Uh,
Come out when you want, or come out on a
Yeah.
certain day?
No, well, if you're a partial working, you need to
no.
come when someone's here.
Don't ever come out unless you've got supervision, if you don't know what you're doing.
So are you gonna, should there be designated days when there is
You know,
supervision?
I think
maybe,
there are a weekday and a weekend.
yeah.
One?
2
maybe
days a week.
You might have Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon, and Saturday, a longer period on Saturday, maybe, you know. And
Sunday seems to be.
Sunday seems to be very popular.
Sunday afternoon, not
Yeah.
Sunday morning for the
Sunday
church. no.
mornings, I don't like particularly. I've been
Saturday
out here-
afternoons is
yeah,
terrible.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So maybe Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon.
Uh-huh. And then a weekday morning and a weekday afternoon. And,
but don't change it from one week to the
Right.
other.
Right, have it the same time all the time.
Well, initially, we started out with every morning and every afternoon every week.
Yeah.
And it
And
was
that's when we
killing
were
us.
like, this
No,
is
you
not
can't.
working.
The people, you can't do that.
Yeah,
It's too
so,
much.
okay, so
Yeah.
one morning,
Yeah.
one afternoon during the week, and then Saturday morning, and then Sunday
Uh-huh.
afternoon.
Mhm.
And we can choose, and it can change, you know, it was Tuesday and Thursday, but it could be a Wednesday, you know.
Yeah,
Wednesday
right.
might actually be better just because,
Yeah, whatever, right.
it's totally in the middle of the week and
Yeah.
then you have the weekend. That
Right.
way for harvesting purposes.
Yeah.
Just one weekday, you're
Or
saying?
just have Wednesday morning shift and a Wednesday afternoon shift. You could do
Do it
that.
that way.
Yeah. But not, that's enough time. You don't.
Although
there's-
you're putting, for some things that need to be harvested every other day, maybe the
Yeah,
Tuesday and Thursday
yeah.
might be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we did that this
Yeah.
year, every other day.
Yeah.
We know what we need too, is we need a regular spray program once a week.
Yes, yes.
And we
yes.
need to do it after everything's harvested, so you're not spraying right on top of something
Right.
that's harvested.
Right.
Do we do like a Sunday afternoon spray?
That's the thought, yeah.
And then that way
seems to be-
it gets picked and then maybe we have enough people, hopefully we have somebody, whether we backpack sprayers or, I do have a 13-gallon thing that can be hooked up, that's on a little trailer.
Uh-huh.
That could be hooked up as, the backpack is a limitation for most people. And it easy for me, it's
Yeah.
it's hard on my shoulders, when I put the backpack on.
Well, how about like a golf cart, or those shopping carts on wheels if you put the thing in it? Those ones
Yeah.
that tip back? I don't know.
Yeah.
Something on
No,
wheels.
we need something, well, I have a 13-gallon sprayer on wheels.
Like, the golf bag cart things with the 3 wheels, if you could put the backpack or something in,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But see, the problem with the backpack, you need to do
Oh,
this.
right.
My little 13-gallon sprayer, you basically need a marine battery, and it's run by a battery, and it's got its own little pump and everything. So that would be easy, and it holds 13 gallons, which is going to spray most of your garden with 13 gallons. You won't even
Right.
do a remix.
I think one thing that, Val, that we need from you is when the team leaders are selected and their crops are selected, you need to get with each of the team leaders and teach them the proper way to spray
Mm-hmm.
and what to spray and all of that. I think that's,
Yeah. Definitely.
you're the expert on that.
And then also,
Still learning.
should the people then schedule themselves into the week, or are you just going to say, these are the days, make sure you come out on those some of the time? Or because sometimes for some people they needed to say, I'm going to come out on this day. I mean, maybe they'll do that anyway, or should you just say, let's see how it goes with making sure you get out here sometime during the week within one of these slots? Try it maybe to start with and see if they're doing it, and if they're not, then say maybe you should pick a day and a time and commit.
I know that's one of the things Brian said, and I have to tend to concur with him, is we need to, particularly with the inexperienced people, the people that have no experience at all, Sunday afternoon, period. And I
Okay.
said maybe one day during the week.
That's a good thought.
And then that
I
way-
like that.
And
Yeah.
that way, okay, these people know nothing. Okay,
Right.
these people, you got to hold their hand through the beginning of it. And I know the more experienced CSA members, when we signed up the new one, and the new ones come along have and they were trying to, they were like, boy, these people know nothing. And it's like, well, you started that way too.
That's
you know what
funny,
I mean?
yeah.
It's just, and that's just how it is. I mean, they do need supervision, and it'll help. And part of the reason why they are coming out is they want to learn.
Okay, so how about the experienced ones? Should they commit, I'm saying, to a time slot, or just...
Well, we're going to need them to, the experienced ones, to help out others too, and it's just, there's some guide. It's very difficult for a team leader to instruct 12 people, because, as you're walking through the field, from my experience, I work well with about 4.
Mhm.
You get 12 people out there, you got a couple with you, and then you got 10 others
That's what I
lagging,
mean.
not keeping
So
up,
should
talking
they-
among each other.
So should they commit and then they're split up and spread out? That's what we tried to do this year. Like, make sure the shifts were all spread apart, so they had even numbers of people at each time.
I think you've got to have some control over that.
Like, so
Otherwise,
they
you
have to pick a
one-
time?
One group that is doing all of this and nobody doing this,
Well, I think when we have the large inexperienced people, if we have a few experienced people, you take these 4, you take these 4,
So that's what I'm saying. So are you going to require they say what day they're going to come out, so you spread them out, the experienced people?
We better get Brian in on that detail.
Okay, so that's the one question then. What were you
Yeah.
going to say?
I'm not sure what the right approach is. I think we're gonna have to maybe play that a little bit by ear, but one of the things that, the team leaders, are gonna have to be available when these people are working.
Mhm.
And the team leaders, if they're not available, if that team leader is out of town for a week, it's their responsibility to trade off or
Yeah,
or,
or have me cover, or,
get somebody to cover their time slots.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, there are times that I can be of some value too. You get give me, on a given, if 12 people come out and you can give me a call and say, look, or the team leader can give me a call and say, look, I need some help,
Yeah. Yeah.
I need you to teach these people how to plant watermelons or whatever the case might be.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So how many
What
good
do you think,
leaders?
Cynthia? Is it confusing you?
It's not, it's a lot of good information. I'm
Yeah.
kind of coming as a newcomer with fresh perspective, and I'd like to know, like, what's already established, what's in writing. Like, are people really clear that are coming in new, what's expected of them?
What do you mean, what's in writing?
What's in writing, like down in black and white, so people can refer back to it, like, oh, this is what I need to do. Because there's a lot of information all at once sometimes when you're joining something.
So is there something in writing you're talking about now, or it's not in existence yet?
I don't know. I'm going to go
Oh.
home and look at
Yeah.
things that
Well, I
had
know
been
Heather
online
was saying
until I
that
wasn't.
the board doesn't
Oh.
get updated like it should, and, you know, I think I'm guilty of that, and I think everyone's guilty of that.
Yeah,
Maybe we need a board for each group
Mm.
of vegetable.
that's a thought too.
You know, as opposed to being on one.
Well, that's
board.
where, with the vegetable logbook, which maybe didn't work out
Yeah,
that way,
it-
to
it's
put
just
with
something
post.
about it, you know, they come in and they just see that.
Yeah, right,
People
right.
just
Right.
flipping over in a book, you know, you've
Yeah.
noticed that half the time people didn't write out anything.
Yeah, that's
in
why I
it.
had these big Post-it sheets for if the leader did want to do this
Yeah.
today, but yeah, that didn't really, probably.
People are people, you know, you're gonna have some people that do a fantastic job.
They micromanage and others
Yeah,
that just.
and others that don't. But what do you have seen thus far? What is your opinion on some things that maybe could be done differently?
I don't really want to say much because I'd like to read over all the emails and things that people
Well,
have
just
received.
say it
No,
without
no,
your
no, no,
having.
there's not-
Don't get too carried away, but just basically, what,
Yeah.
you've got opinions, don't hesitate to express it.
I think as a newcomer, I'd want to feel that I was really well updated on what's expected of me. And I would want somebody to either hold my hand or walk along with me through the process. Because I think people in general have a lot to offer, but if you don't tell them what they're needing to do or what's expected, they kind of get lost.
I think that's one thing. In the initial sign-up, membership sign-up, we probably need to do a little better job of explaining what's expected.
What would you
I-
say is expected then?
Well, to put in your allotted hours,
Mhm.
if you can't be there, advise your team leader and
Make every effort to
determine a
make up your
time that you can make that up. That if you're inexperienced, you don't work out here without supervision, but the goal is to get to a point to where you can. That the team leaders have a responsibility of if you have a question of them or anybody for that matter, you know, don't just say, well, I don't know how to do this. Ask. You know, there should be somebody available to teach you. And I think when we started out, we kind of started out with the idea, okay, you come out on Tuesday morning, all right, here's what needs to be done. There wasn't a lot of instruction. It was just a matter of, we used them as laborers.
Yeah, exactly, and I think people felt that way.
And they resented it.
You know,
Right.
and then that's why we end up, you know,
Yeah.
people are starting to resent this because
Mhm.
all I'm doing is hoeing every time.
Uh-huh,
You
right.
know, I want to learn how to,
Yeah,
I want to learn how to plant, you know.
yeah.
I want to learn how to,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
Were there see, I don't want to repeat things if you've already done them.
Well, just.
But were there handouts? Were there things that were given as educational materials and then put in some kind of like plastic sleeve or something so people can refer back to?
Well,
I
the
don't-
vegetable logbook, when we started with the teams, we had every vegetable listed out, kind of how to harvest, when to plant, how far apart, what are the companion plants, what shouldn't it be planted next to, when should the harvest be expected to come in. Like, we tried to answer those kinds of questions, but they probably couldn't tell you how
I'm
to,
doing this to myself.
you know, and even how deep, I don't know. You'd have to be shown. It comes to a point where you have to be
Yeah.
shown.
One of the problems of gardening is that there is nothing, you ask 10 experienced gardeners and you'll get 10 different opinions about how to do something, what's the proper way to do it.
Absolutely. There's
And
not any
there's nothing set in
one
concrete.
right way to do
Right.
something.
Right.
You know, we all, and
Yeah.
luck has a lot to do with it. I
Right.
mean, you know, luck, well, I shouldn't say that. You know, you got to give it good, healthy
Yeah.
soil to begin with.
Right.
But weather, I should say weather, you know, is a real factor in there. So you may really
Big
fail
factor.
miserably, but
Right.
that doesn't mean you should give up either.
Right.
You know, I've replanted many times
Uh-huh.
because I've had weather problems. And,
But it sounds like what you're saying though is you would need the leader every time until you finally said, okay, I've done that before, now I know how to do it. Which should come after, you know, maybe there's 5 different things each thing, you know, is going to need for maintenance, or, you know.
Either a leader or somebody that's designated to teach someone new. Like once somebody learns it, they can share that information with someone else. Somebody that can
that's
and
true.
walk along
Mhm.
with you and you know how I am, Bill. I like to do things correctly and not have to
Yeah.
backtrack and you know
Right.
how somebody wants it done or the correct or proper way to done or something that's going to actually help out and not hurt. And I think a lot of people are actually like that. They have maybe not fear, but they want to do it right,
Mhm.
and they don't want to do it a way that like, oh well, I'm hurting something.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think people kind
Well,
of have that in general.
Yeah,
when they're
definitely
learning
they
something
should
new.
always have someone who's done it before with them, without a doubt.
Mhm.
Whether it's the shift leader themselves or the team leader or someone who was already done it with the team leader.
Mhm.
But I think a good example, half of our spinach crop was destroyed with somebody who went out and cut spinach, basically cut the plant down.
yeah, they just went
And
in
didn't-
you
and
know,
didn't
where
know how to
wrote the
pick the
spinach,
leaves
you know,
and,
you
you know.
just,
Right. Pick an individual leaf off and,
Yeah, with harvesting there can be a lot of
yeah,
damage.
and everybody said, we don't have enough spinach, well, because somebody went and, you know, so we had very limited amount.
or planting, you know, a good rule of thumb of planting is to plant the seed twice the depth of its size.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And, but yet you go out there, I saw people planting stuff, you know, a little old bitty seed, and they were planting it, you know, half-inch deep.
Yeah.
You know, people don't stop and think, you know, what they're doing sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, we lost a lot of seed in the beginning. A lot of seed got
Yeah,
wasted.
particularly in that.
Even
first
though we
seeding
said it
class.
over and over and over, everybody just didn't listen
They
at
just
all.
weren't listening, you know. And
Even
it's
though
like
we-
we had that one, this was a good example, is Susan put a general email out, we're gonna plant flats of seeds. Everybody was really excited. We
yeah.
had 60 people show up
With kids and everything.
with their kids and stuff. And, you know, so we had all these flats laid out, and okay, we said, you know, no more than 3 seeds per thing.
Mhm.
Well, there were some where they put 20 seeds
Yeah.
in, you
Well,
know,
why do you
and
think
they
that
buried
was?
it all the way right to
Yeah.
the hub.
Oh, and
you
they
know?
didn't come out. We got wasted. So much wasted.
Why do
seed.
you think that was though?
Why? Because there were so many, and people, you know, we said, okay, look, first of all,
And we said
let's
kids
wait
need
until, you know,
supervision.
everybody gets here, and we just had people just start doing it anyway, 'cause they got impatient.
Like
They
Jennifer
just
Mina.
because they thought they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
how can you work
Jennifer
with
planted
that?
the arugula, but I think she did it wrong that day.
Jennifer Mina, yeah.
How
But
can you work with that? Because if you think of it as a business, but also as a community,
We decided what
Farm.
we needed to do was have the right ratio of an instructor per certain number of people.
Mhm.
That there just wasn't the right ratios. There's only 2 or 3 with 30 each or 20.
Like I said, 1 to 4 is about the maximum ratio you can work with, you know. And I work well with about 4 people. Any more than that, you lose efficiency anyway. With whatever project you're doing, you know, at the most you need on any one little project, and then you need to take one person and go over and do another project. The problem is that when you start multiple things going on in the garden, I can only be in one place at once. That's why we decided to do crop leaders, and you know, and people are a little fearful to go home and read about your crop. We're not asking you to learn about everything. Like Sherry Taylor was a good example. She was a root group. So she was really nervous about it, but I said, go online, read about it, and she did. And she learned more because she actually took the initiative to learn about her root crops.
Which is wonderful if people know what is expected of them, not
Yeah.
just in terms of, oh, I expect you to work 4 hours a month or 6 hours a
Right,
month,
you know,
but in terms
you're
of
in
that.
charge of this particular vegetable. Now
Do you
maybe Sherry
have
wants
that?
to do lettuce next year, so she can learn lettuce and let somebody else do potatoes.
Do you
I think
have
it
that
works
though?
better that way.
Because a business, they have job descriptions, and then people are really clear of what's expected, and then
You
there's
can't-
no
Cindy,
questions.
no offense, but I just don't see how you can do that in gardening.
Well, there's books, you
I mean,
know,
there's all
there's
kinds of
vegetable
books out
books.
there. You can read, you can go online and get all the information you ever wanted to know about gardening. And still, it's a hands-on deal.
Yeah, I agree.
And until you,
Until you have
Accept
tried
that.
it and then said,
Right.
oh, that didn't work.
right.
And I think, you know, like Sherry, team leader, and she wouldn't do any of her own thinking before when we forced it on her. And finally she
Lolly,
went out there
too.
and she did something, and she goes, "Oh my God, the potatoes are coming up!" You know, just like,
That's
and then
what
she
I'm
was so
talking
excited
about,
about it.
And Lolly
Like,
too had that
tell people you
experience.
expect them to do that. Do a little bit of research online and put it into practice. Like
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
if something's foreign, there's a lot of people that are just, oh, I don't want to do that. You have to
Right.
help them get to their
But
comfort
let
level.
them do their own research. I don't, for us to put it in a book for them, the books are already there, the information is out there. They need to take the initiative. But if
Can
you
you
look
give
it
them
up, you
some
do
things-
retain more.
True, but can you give them some things to draw on? Like
Well, you
people
know,
like-
it wasn't
there's a lot
until
of
we
resources.
changed to the crop leaders that they learned. The whole first half of the year where we were,
Where I tried to hold
Yeah,
their hand.
she tried- nobody
it was
was
like They were in
learning.
the driver's seat and not paying a bit of attention.
yeah,
They just-
it
they were
wasn't
drones
until
doing
they
what I
had
told
to
them
do
and
it
I'm just like,
themselves.
I feel like I'm, you know, treating these people like slaves, and you know, and I know I felt a tension that they started to resent me, and it's like, you know, I'm not being paid to do this. I'm leasing a little bit of space here, and it's taking a lot of my time, and you know, it's kind. I didn't like
So
how I
really,
was feeling.
the
I
re-
didn't-
yeah, the
they didn't like
resentment was going
how
both
I was
ways.
treating them, so to speak. And I didn't really want it to come across that way, but it did come across that
But what
way.
was successful? What was successful to get people to be team leaders and for that to be a success where you said, wow, the potatoes are coming up, this is wonderful.
That
What-
was the way it happened that it became successful, is when they had to figure it out themselves.
Right.
But who are
there's
you
only
going
a
to get
few
to
people
take that
stepped up
on?
to that plate. It's
But
the
there
only
might be
problem.
more people if there was more clear-cut guidelines, not rules, but guidelines, like, hey, this is exciting.
Yeah.
This is all you need to do. Like, some people don't want to step up if they have no clue what's going on.
Right.
Yet, if
Well, I
somebody
don't
did
think
encourage
anybody,
them,
unless
they
they
would.
got, like Robert has years of personal experience gardening, has any business being a team leader, you know, unless they've been out here for at least a half a year, you know. We had some unexperienced team leaders, but at least they had some knowledge of, you know, the layout of the garden. They did some harvesting, you know, that type of thing. So they have a little bit of knowledge, but now they can finish their knowledge by looking it up online and then putting it
Okay,
to
so that's one of the
practice.
criteria, is you have
Yeah.
to have some knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you have to have a certain amount. I mean, you just
Why, are
can't
you
go
thinking
in
of
there.
being a leader?
Oh, I'm just thinking of how you choose people to be leaders or how you
They
present that.
volunteered.
They actually volunteered to be
Mm-hmm.
leaders, you know. I think that
But initially, Val or Susan or anyone didn't have any knowledge of the level of experience of any member. You had this group of people that got together, and that's what happened with the initial planting of the peat pots, is that, and there's always an element that doesn't listen, and that's always going to be the case. There's always an element of, they already know everything, so you can't teach me anything. That's always going to be the case. And so you're working with all these different peoples,
A lot of personalities.
a lot of
And
personalities.
it's always the hands-on is when you
Right.
learn something. You could read it in a book all you want, but
Right.
until the surgeon cuts the person's open, you know,
I'm a
They're not going to have the experience.
Yeah.
I'm a hands-on learner too.
because they could take the college course, you know, but it's not until they actually have to do it. So,
And I do get that.
Right.
Usually how I do it, I like look at something, I read a little bit about it, I try it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is how it's done, and then I research more back for the questions that I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand or I need more clarification on.
but there'll be a person like,
Yeah, you know, myself or
Meeting.
Robert, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't, some things I still have to look up, and
Yeah.
I can't remember every, you know, some things are because of experience, you know, companion planning. This is the first year I've attempted you know, I just went out there and just kind of winged it, you know, and I
Like the
probably luckier
tomatoes
than
shouldn't have
most,
been
but-
next to the potatoes over here, right? Here.
Yeah, I planted potatoes next to tomatoes. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, that's where I had space available, and it had tendency. That's how I did all my planting, and that's probably why some things didn't do as well as others, because I messed up. And then I'll admit it. I make my mistakes. I'm no expert.
Yeah. See, Cynthia?
Yeah. Everybody, you know, everybody's just looking to me like, oh, you know it all, and like, boy, you're in trouble. Yeah.
Right, yeah. You don't really know how much trouble you're in.
Yeah, you don't know how much trouble you're in.
All right, any other thoughts, Robert?
Not really. I
Anything
think
we didn't cover?
I can't think of anything. I
So
think
we
we've
need to
covered
talk
a lot.
over with Brian about should people schedule
Well, Brian, I think he's
themselves?
going to have very established rules. I mean, he's a lot more stricter on what he thinks the requirements are of people. And you know, like I said, I think we have in our head three different levels. You know, your true working member that's going to be kind of in charge, the overseers, and then you have your kind of like what we had this year.
Renewal.
But the renewal.
Partial.
And then we get the new members and
The
we just
new
won't expect
non-working.
a whole lot from the new members, you know.
But it-
Still volunteers, but, and I don't know if we just want to category, some people just don't want to work, period, and they just have them pay extra,
Non-working,
you know.
which is how most CSAs are.
Yeah.
What you'll find with most of them is they don't even pick up their produce. 40% of them don't even pick up their produce. They'll pick for
The
2 weeks
non-working?
and then they don't even
Right.
bother to show up,
Right.
but you got their money.
Yeah,
So we have their money to work with our
Right.
budget.
yeah.
You know,
But-
and I want to make sure we have a lot more, you know, the cartons for the strawberries and, you know, that way it's,
Right.
the
Make
product's
it as
cheap and nice.
convenient as possible, right. But in answer to more directly to your question, I think we didn't do a very good job of telling people initially what was expected of them.
I think that's really important for any type of like organization, and this is an
Right.
organization.
Yeah.
I think that's really important
You
for people to
establish the
know.
guidelines.
And
What
then
parts
if-
don't you think we told them?
I think we didn't screen, we just accepted anybody who wanted to join. I
To
think
be a
we need
working
to.
member. And
I
there
think-
were
yeah.
some that you saw that had physical
Yeah,
limitations.
I think we
Terry
need to
Lindley,
ask.
she just
yeah.
had knee surgery
Yeah,
or hip surgery
exactly,
or what, you know.
whatever it was, right. I think we need to be asking some very specific questions about what is your gardening experience?
Which I did on the surveys.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
you-
this year-
We probably should not do surveys, but this is probably where Brian, he's gonna be the tough one. 'cause
An interview.
And he can do it
He's
somewhat.
gonna be like Santa Claus sitting at the end of the row.
Do basically individual
Interviews.
Right.
Sit
Oh,
down, okay,
right.
and, you
Or,
know,
or will it be while working in the field, an interview?
it may
Well,
be.
Yeah.
It may be.
Or
You
an
know, and you decide,
application.
are you capable of doing it? Okay, you gotta come out, if you want to come out and join the CSA.
Yeah, he should make
come
an
work with me for
application
2
of-
hours, and we're gonna
Well-
screen you, we're gonna talk to you.
Really, you just need to work with someone though. It doesn't matter if they said they knew how to do something. It depends on how lazy or
Well, I mean,
hardworking.
an application where you actually go through some things, like, and then you go out in the field with them and see what they can put into
Yeah,
effect.
see what their
and what they can
limitations
actually
are,
apply.
and then we can see, okay, you're gonna qualify to be, a total non-working member. Or, you know, you can still join, but you're gonna be a non-working, you know, just see, this isn't quite for you. I mean, you have physical limitations, no offense, but people have physical limitations, you know. Some people can't handle the heat, you know, it's hot.
Mhm.
Early on and late on, and I
Uh-huh.
think that's why we don't have a lot of people right now, it's just the weather,
Right.
Plus, it's just way overgrown. It's like
yeah.
Gardening is not a, when it's
Comfortable.
nice outside and pretty and comfortable. It's when it's raining, it's when it's hot, it's when it's cold.
Yeah.
And these are some very pertinent questions, you know, that need to be asked of a prospective member. Is, what's your reaction to when there's a need to working when it's 35 degrees? What's your reaction when it's 90?
Well, when I was out here, you know, we pulled all that cover on,
Mhm.
and then everybody left, and the cover blew off. But Brian and I are out there with our couple woofers trying to get the darn cover back on. And, you know, he's out there past midnight with the, you know, the smudge pot, you know, trying to save the tomato plants. I mean, you think we wanted, it was 25 degrees out there. We're freezing our butts off out there. I didn't want to be out there, but we were, you know, and it's that type of thing, one willing to make that type of commitment. Now, we didn't expect somebody to come out at midnight and do it,
Well-
but, you know, but we did have, we had the core
I was
people,
gonna
you know,
say,
that
that's-
you see
that's
on
when you
this
should-
list. They came out and they helped us cover. You know, the other one said, I got a ball game, I can't go, you know.
But that's when you pick up the phone and call and say, I need some help.
Yeah, you know.
Uh,
But, you know, that's the committed to the non-committed, you know, it's, you know, it's, I don't know.
Is it gonna be clear for people that there's a minimum expected? At the same time, though, it would be great if they pitched in more? Because people need to know, some people, it's a minimum, that's all I'm gonna do.
When we need to cover up plants, you know, if you, say, if you have a function, but it can be delayed, it would really help if you could come out, you know. We're not gonna fire you because of it, but we will be
If you
disappointed.
do it too many times, we will.
But people
So if you
need,
do it too many times, we
Yeah,
will.
well, yeah.
people need to know that up front, though, I really
Yeah.
think that, because then they know, okay, this is what's expected of me. If I just do 2 hours a week, you know, it's frowned upon. But some people think it's the minimum, that's my commitment, that's all
Well,
I'm
we
doing.
are going to
But-
tell them the minimum.
Oh, yeah, I think it's great to tell people the minimum. At the same time, though, if you're really wanting more out of them, express it. But we'd really like you to be available more and to contribute more. I think people need to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, you know,
Yeah.
just, got to,
You see what I'm
you
saying?
get more out of it, the more you put in it, the more you get out of it.
Exactly, I was just
And-
about
and
to
that's-
say that.
And that's true of anything.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
saying that all year. If you really want to learn, then come out more often.
You know, somebody that comes out once a month and they say, you know, I'm not learning anything, with duh.
And
Yeah,
we
actually-
have people like that.
Yeah,
Right.
and we do, we have a lot of them that are
They're
like
just
that.
once
And
a
those
month.
people, I just, and they probably be the ones that won't rejoin anyway, which is fine with me, I'd rather get a bunch of new
Actually,
fresh
though,
faces and you
You're
gotta
right.
get-
We should be talking to someone who did do the whole year to see what they thought wasn't explained in the beginning, since you have no idea how it ended up going and
I
how.
think that would be really helpful as somebody that would be willing to be honest with you. I
Mm-hmm.
think that'd be really helpful.
Well, that's what I mean. So we should really be talking to someone who really did the whole year and see if they still feel that way at the end of the year, that they didn't know what they were supposed to,
Yeah.
what was expected.
Or people who maybe didn't end up showing up too. I'm not including this, I had a different issue. But that would have been more involved if there was some kind of liaison or somebody that